Hey, cats and kittens. This is Eric with the Future of Fitness podcast and Fitness Marketing Alliance. And in this episode, I had the pleasure of talking to John Burch. So I've known John since 2008 when I actually took his mentoring course called The Biz, Raise Your Game. And it was one of the first business mentoring groups for CrossFit affiliates. And him and Andy Petronic, who's going to be on the show next week or the next upcoming weeks, depending on the recording time, we're founders in that, and they really push forward the business side of the affiliates in the CrossFit world and helped a lot of fitness professionals in general. So John's been around the game for a while. He's helped a lot of business owners become profitable and stay profitable and make a great living. He's also the founder of World's Best Boot Camp, which I believe has locations in over 60 spots across North America. And now what's really interesting is he's turning his attention towards technology and tackling the worldwide obesity epidemic head on. And he's partnering with some high-level endocrinologists and developed an app that all fitness professionals can be part of. And I think it's a very cool and very interesting topic and something we should all keep our eyes on. So let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, John Burch. All right, everybody, it's Eric at the Fitness Marketing Alliance, and today I have the pleasure of sitting with John Burch. So John is, I've actually known him for quite some time, but he wears a lot of different hats. So he is the originator of The Biz, Raise Your Game, which is a consulting agency that was the actual first consulting agency for CrossFit gyms. And when did that start, John? 2000.
It loosely started with Andy Petronic at Cross Los Angeles in December of 2006.
Okay.
And we used for about a year and a half. We used that as a beta testing of the theory, and grew his business 100% in the first year, and then we did that again in the second year. There was so much rapid success that his accountant was literally asking him if he was selling drugs in a back room or something like that, because businesses don't have that type of growth at the 3-year, 4-year part. So that was so we actually started, our first iteration was an apprenticeship series that a small group of gym owners would fly into Los Angeles, work in the gym for a week. Part of the day was going over SOPs and role playing and business stuff, concepts. And then the other part of the day was spent on the floor and having them actually learn it, pick up the skills, interact, see how we're doing stuff, give them some feedback. That was the first iteration. And then we went later that year in 2008 to a 2-day seminar format.
Okay.
And since then, we developed online content, and the tribe was a lot of the ways that we were doing stuff just because of the reach and scale of using internet. So I built literally from the ground up the website that's still used by people 6 years later, still used by people, still delivering value and content. And we had about, from all of our digital products in the tribe, we worked with about 7,000 gyms.
Wow. And on top of that, which is a huge feat, you've also, you are the CEO of World's Best Boot Camp, which has locations over 60 cities. And you were also, you have something very exciting that we're going to talk about. So I'm going to hold off on that for a little bit, because then we'll get to it. But something I like to ask everybody, because this is, reaching fitness professionals, and that's who's listening. What's your fitness story? How did you get into the world of fitness? How's fitness affected your life? And give us a little personal anecdote.
So I never really saw myself as a fitness person, although at 12 I started martial arts, and I got really good at a point in martial arts to be ranked in the top 10. And I had owned my own martial arts business. Actually, that martial arts business that I started when I was 20 years old is still running today.
Awesome.
So 27 years later, still running. growing, and my first employee, to talk about that business was almost in shambles after about 6 months of operating, because I didn't know what I know now. I didn't treat the business as much. I didn't treat the business side as honorably as I treated the teaching side, and there was a huge disconnect. So in bringing up that business and making it survive and thrive, I accumulated these tools. And then I sold the business, and I kind of really didn't have a lot to do with fitness in that regard. I don't know if you consider martial arts fitness, and some people could say it is, it's not. It was something that kept me fit, but it wasn't necessarily fitness. I didn't see it as fitness stuff.
Sure.
And then in 2006, I didn't like where I was physically, personally. And a lot of people don't know this about my involvement. I did not come to this community, the CrossFit community, because there was a business opportunity. I actually called Andy as a client. And in the first day, I realized the similarities between martial arts and CrossFit. There was a lot of similarities. Environment, one coach, space. Like there were so many different things. And Andy is a great coach, and maybe one of the best coaches that I've ever met.
Agreed.
Even to this day.
Yep.
I loved his approach. I loved what I got from the first workout. By the way, it was a 4-round workout. I only did 2 rounds. That's how much it kicked my ass. And I'm like, wow, I need more of this, because what it reminded me of was when I used to prepare for tournaments and fights, the level of intensity that I had to go into for an 8-week or 12-week process. So I used to, in martial arts, I would train twice a day, morning and night, as well as coach a whole bunch of classes and stuff like that. I did that. I found myself tapping into that again in CrossFit, and it really spoke to me. I remember I was working in online marketing for a large company, and I remember sharing Nasty Girls workout and Greg Amundsen doing a workout, thrusters and muscle ups, and I would share that video with friends. I'm like, you should do this with me. And like everyone thought I was nuts. And for me, it spoke to me of being able to push yourself and get those results. I was fine with that, where other people were like, that's too much. And only one person, actually 2 people got started. Of the 30 people I shared the videos with, only 2 people got started. And that was fine, because I wasn't going to let them influence what I wanted to do. And so that was kind of the start of it. So I started for myself, and then I realized what I knew could help out Andy. And then about a month into it, after him agreeing to hire me, and I didn't need a job. I did it because I realized, I believed that I had value, and Andy didn't have an answer. We had spoken, we had set up a lunch. He didn't have an answer of how he was going to be a good dad with his soon-to-be son being born, his son Dashiell. He didn't have an answer how he was going to be able to straddle those 2 worlds. And I thought that I knew that I had a solution. So I worked for stupid cheap money, and I was there probably 25 hours a week, from 5 o'clock until 9 o'clock at night, all day Saturday, Sundays, and once in a while if there was something going on, but I was still working on stuff. And so there was kind of a dovetail between my own goal and what I could help him with. And then about a month in, I said, there's other locations like this. If Andy's like one of the best coaches and he's struggling to kind of make this manageable, I probably could help other gyms. And that was the idea that eventually took hold. Like 14 months later, we really beat up my concepts and took some of what, because there was we had to translate what I knew from one world into another world. And so that translation and making sure that it worked the way that the principles and theories worked the same way. And we got enough success to say, yeah, we have a blueprint now. And that's how we went onward. But I was always like, I knew this I knew that if I didn't get good, if I didn't get on that leaderboard in some regard, that I wouldn't be taken as seriously in the world, in the CrossFit world. So I worked doubly hard to not only grow his business and smooth things out and help him. I also worked on my own ability so that I got on the leaderboard, and I was on I think it took me like 4 months to get on the leaderboard for one thing. And I was number 5. I'm like, yeah, I'm on the leaderboard. And then, so I was in it as much as possible to help him out, but also help myself out. And I knew that my own development would help with the validity from his clients and also from other gym owners.
Sure.
So there was a natural progression. I get better at stuff. I get more credibility from people. I'm not just a marketing guy or the sales guy. I'm not just a business person. And I, in 2008, I willingly put myself through the CrossFit Games, the year that Jason Khalifa won it. Yep. And John Welburn broke my big toe. It was a thruster chest to bar workout, and he launched his thruster to go to the bar. It bounced, landed on my foot,
ouch,
and broke it. And that was on the second day. And on the third day, I DNF'd on the 30 clean and jerks at 155. I couldn't, but I still tried and whatever. But so I did that in 2008, and then 2009, I went through the internal process across Los Angeles to be on the team, because that's when they expanded the team stuff. And so I competed again in 2009, representing Cross Los Angeles for the team, which is really fun because it was at Aromas, and not many people, know about the ranch and how kind of cool that was. It was like the Woodstock of fitness at that time, and it was freezing in the morning, and then hot as balls at night. Hot as balls in the afternoon. Like by 11 or 12 o'clock, it was like 90 degrees, and it was dusty, and it was like, but it was fun. It was a fun thing. And I still challenge myself to this day. In my condo, I've got an Airdyne. I've got 700 pounds of weights. I've got a rack set up. I've got kettlebells. I've got a pull-up rig for the doorway jam. So I'm still in it because, I don't think I should ever stop challenging myself. And also, if I'm going to be in the space, then, my clients who are gym owners or their clients need to know that the person who's developing stuff is somebody who's, not only talking the talk, but also walking the walk.
Yeah, I think it's great. And I was at the games in Aramis as well. And I remember all of that. I remember watching Andy Petronic running up a hill with a sandbag.
Yep. That was still, still to this day, people say that might've been the hardest workout ever.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I also remember that Panda Express was one of the sponsors.
I do,
which I find hysterical given the zone diet that was so fashionable at the time during CrossFit. But I ate it. I think I ate it at least 3 times when I was there. So John, like many successful people I get the opportunity to talk to, you have a morning routine, right? And you and I talked about it a couple of days ago. Do you care to share what that is? Because I found it really interesting.
Sure. It's something that I believe every business owner and every individual should do. So normally, if you're an adult with a child or a business owner, the moment that you wake up, you're solving problems and you're at the beck and call of responsibilities. So when do you find time to replenish yourself and nourish yourself, not just physically with food, but mentally? And that's, it's really easy to get lost in the hustle and the grind. So I do 3 things every day. I did it this morning. I do it I do it on the weekends. I do it on holidays. I do it all the time to refocus me on what I'm doing. One of those is I'm writing a statement down. I have a yellow note tablet that's right next to my computer right here. And I have, if I flip back to, I've got these statements that I'm writing, and one of them says, "I'll let you know how audacious I am. I easily, joyfully run $1 billion company."
Love it.
I write that 15 times. I actually got this from Scott Adams, who is the creator of Dilbert. He actually does stuff like this, and he only does one thing, which is writing down his goals 15 times. I wordsmith them to be as effective as possible. I'm very much into neuro-linguistic programming your brain, self-hypnosis, conversational hypnosis. So the way that I word it, the wording is important. But what's most important is just being consistent. You could refine the wording as you go, but write down what your goals are. By the way, it's always first person present tense, not I'm about to or I'm going to. It's I am. It's present. It's happening. Doesn't matter that it's may not manifest itself right now. It's I have to act like that. I've got to write it down like that. Because if you're always writing, it's going to happen, well, then it's always going to happen. It's always going to be outside of your reach, outside of your extent of, what you're doing. It's always going to be something down the road. Then I read something, and, I'll let you know the two books that I'm reading. One of them is Ogilvy on advertising, which is
nice.
Great. It's just great it's great. His company does $5 billion a year. It's great to see where people came from. This is an old book. This is probably written in the 70s, but it's still really relevant. And another book is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Love it. Read it.
And so those are two of the things. And when I say I might read, I think today I read like a paragraph. That's all I did.
Yeah.
I don't kill myself over it. By the way, this morning ritual takes 15 minutes at the most. And then I put my headset in, get my iPhone, pull up a video of someone like Grant Cardone, Jim Rohn, Gary Vaynerchuk, someone in that ilk, and I'll go walk around the block, half a mile or something like that, come home. It's great to get out. It's great to be out of my space, away from my laptop. By the way, I do all this first thing in the morning. I do not answer any texts. I do not get on Facebook. I put myself first so that I could, and what I find from this is that stress level is really low. I'm not a super stressed person, but just the calm that washes over me is great. And during that time frame, the creativity bubbles to the surface. And some people say, well, okay, I'll do that at 5 o'clock in the afternoon or 8 o'clock at night. You're too tired. You're too exhausted. Your brain is used up. Your creativity is gone in solving problems. Put yourself first. The analogy is very similar to the directions on a plane, right? If the cabin loses pressure, the adult puts the oxygen mask on themselves and then takes care of someone else. You need to do that, and there's nothing wrong with prioritizing that. Being a whipping post for people in your life is not a position that is advantageous to anybody, right? Yep. Being on a short leash for someone's demands is not great. And for you to be an adult doing what you need to do, either for your business, your family, or your own goals, you need to prioritize yourself in that regard.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, like I said, everyone I talk to who I consider successful has some sort of morning routine. I've been tweaking mine for a long time, and now I've come down to something that I really like. So I read the Daily Stoic.
Great.
If you're not familiar with that one, I do the 5-minute.
I'm actually friends with Ryan Holiday.
Okay, fantastic, even better. I do the 5-minute gratitude journal, which I actually borrowed. I think Tim Ferriss wrote about it, and then I move. And whatever that means, whether it's a walk with a podcast, whether it's simply stretching for 5 minutes, if that's all the time, or I go do a CrossFit workout, or I go for a trail run or something like that. And the rest of the day is set up nicely.
Yeah, I'd have to add the one variable, and it's consistent. It's I do it probably 60% of the time. Is I do mobility in the morning as well. Awesome. Just because I either standing at my desk, I'm at a stand-up desk right now, or sometimes I'm sitting, and I just want to be more mobile, right? It's not a bad thing. So I'll probably spend 6 minutes on mobility. And again, about 60% of the time in the morning. I'll also do that in the evening prior to a workout. That's when I'm working out at around 7 o'clock at night. But I do put that in the morning, and I just everything feels organized. Everything feels aligned. My mind feels aligned with my body. I feel aligned with what my goals are. No matter how busy my day is, I know that I've done what I need to do to get some stimulus in, because to think that, I mean, I've launched, run, and been involved with dozens of businesses. I've personally made millions of dollars myself. I've helped the community make about $1 billion. I don't know everything, right? And I would be a fool to think that I do know everything. So maybe, part of this also is a bit of humility, in that I'm not reliant on just what my base knowledge is. I'm always expanding what my knowledge is, or my creativity level is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense. I think everyone, if you're not growing and learning and maybe getting a little uncomfortable every day, right? That's where the magic happens. And I have a question for you here. And if you had just this magic microphone, right? And at one time you could talk to every gym owner and fitness professional and give them one message, right, about their business, what would that message be, and why?
It would be that you don't know how incredibly powerful you are. You haven't really tapped into yourself yet. And I see this, having worked with so many gym owners, is that they're wrong thinking that they're in it 100%. And I know this from, martial arts and from CrossFit, and a lot of people know this, is that being dialed in 100% is hard to maintain, but there's a big difference between that and running at a maintenance level. And I see a lot of gym owners get to this maintenance level of, I'm getting some results and I'm feeling good, but they don't know. I know this with probably 5 or 7 gyms that I have right now. They're $1 million locations, and they started with me making $8,000 a month, and now they've expanded because they've grabbed onto this. And literally, like, there's this one gym in Lawton, Oklahoma, where they were going to sell their gym. So I met with them a year ago. They were going to sell their gym and kind of travel the world. And for some reason, they decided to get my boot camp license, and they now have interest in 5 different gyms, and they've grown their revenue by 7 times.
Wow.
And they're on track in the next year to do about $2 million. And they didn't see what they had until it was exposed to them. Like, this is what you could do. And for people who are hearing me and they may be thinking, well, that's just money. They're just good at sales. No, they're great at giving a value, right? So by telling a gym owner you don't know what you have, is you don't really know how many people you could reach. You don't know how powerful you are. And I'm seeing this now with this thing that we're going to be talking about in a second, is that technology is leveling the playing field, and you're not a local business anymore. You could be a global business. So some of that vision will be recognized. Some people will see what I see, and they'll grab onto it, and some people won't. But I would still say that to everyone, that you don't really know how powerful you are, and how many people you could help, and what could really happen, because I think we're still just scratching the surface. Even though there's so many locations, there's so many other franchises like Orange Theory and all these other businesses. There's, Soul Cycle is a business that's come up in the last 3 years, and they're doing so well. Even all of these successful businesses haven't yet done enough because obesity is on the rise. And I get that we like kind of what we're doing and what we're giving our people, but what's going on with the overall picture, right? I've been in this for 11 years. I've worked with so many gyms, and still obesity rate is on the rise. So how are we actually affecting our market? I think that we have a responsibility to not only work with the people who are willing to move, but we have a responsibility to crack the nut and find people who don't like our message, but eventually do like our message. I think that's the biggest, actually, I think that's our responsibility. I'm not even gonna say that's our biggest opportunity. I think that's our responsibility in doing that. And that's kind of that's where my business is focused right now. That's where a lot of the people I'm working with, that's where these other things we'll talk about in a second, that's where they're headed, is to go outside of people who like intense functional training, people who like boot camp. Okay, great, that's a decent audience. How about the other 90% of your community? What about that? How are they going to get what they need to live longer, more fulfilled lives?
Yeah, I agree, and I love it. And so let's dovetail into that. So how do you, one of my very favorite subtopics on this series is technology, how it's changing the industry, how it's changing everything, right? Since 2007, when the iPhone came out and a bunch of other things, the cloud, and how do you see technology changing the fitness and health industry, and start telling us about what you're up to now? Because it's exciting. You were telling about the other day, and it fired me up. I want everyone to know about it.
You could be anywhere. I was just on a phone call prior to this with a person from Pennsylvania who was in my high school class, who saw the results that a person is getting from one of my products, and this person in Pennsylvania is using one of my products, and she's going to hire me. She's hiring me to have the results that this other person had, and that wouldn't have happened before if I didn't have this product. And wherever the internet is, you could be, right? So I think people are looking at themselves as a local solution, not a global solution.
And now you've launched the Better Human app, the Better Human project. Tell us about that. How is that harnessing technology? What does it mean for the future of fitness and health? And just talk to us about that.
So the series of gyms that we're working with, we had a solution that I developed a product about a year and a half ago called the Original Flexible Eating Blueprint, and I saw a lot of people using MyFitnessPal, and I honestly did not like that I was building a client base to help out Under Armour. So I developed a solution to kind of stop that, and it was an app, and the app is the Better Human app, and the technology that we put into it, anything that you put in the app, whether it be food, and it tracks workouts. We developed something called the Coach's Dashboard, and the dashboard allows a coach in real time to see every input that their clients are putting in. Because you and I know this, that clients are horrible at self-reporting. So first off, you got to be in the mentality that tracking helps, tracking workouts and tracking food helps. If you agree with that, great. Then the dashboard gives you insight into what they're doing real time. So if somebody's not seeing the results that they want, then this will help with that. Then a group of doctors, endocrinologists, people who are dealing with obesity, heard about it, and they actually convinced me. They said, if you add a couple features to the app, you could literally turn the tide of obesity in America by giving doctors access to the same dashboard with permission of the end user, giving doctors, because right now, medicine is reactive. It's not proactive. Somebody has a problem, they're overweight, they're obese, they go to the doctor. Even if they're working with the doctor on things, the doctor, even if there's checkups, the doctor is reacting to what that person did, not being proactive about it, right? It's been 2 months, 3 months, whatever, a month, doesn't matter. They're still reactive, and they're trying to look at what the person's doing from a distance, self-reporting, and it's not that useful. So this group of doctors convinced me that if they had this, they could, and throughout the technology, doing push notifications, you could click on a person, send them a message, a doctor could send a message, or a coach could send a message, and say, hey, I noticed that you're off on your macros or you haven't moved, and let's get back on that, right? You could be proactive in that and see better results. But this is probably the biggest thing, as one of the gym owners said, is that what you're doing with this alliance, Burch, is you're actually bridging the gap between kind of two warring factions. The fitness industry doesn't necessarily respect doctors because they think that they're a shill for the pharmaceutical industry, and I get that. And the doctors think that trainers, coaches, are a little bit too extreme and that their methods won't apply to everyone. So we have this, we're both trying to battle obesity, but we're not working together. So I'm working right now with my cities, with my locations for the boot camp, that every boot camp will be aligned with a healthcare professional, and they will be going after a market of individuals that is not currently raising their hand and saying that I'm ready for boot camp. Because you start saying the word, PT or workouts, and those people they can't hear that because they're so far away. So it's going to be a different approach. I've been saying this is we're going to lower the incline and lengthen the runway for these individuals to get the app and get them moving, so it's going to be called activity, not workouts, activity, and start on the macros. And that person may end up being a client at the gym a year down the road. But, if my math serves correct, we're going to, triple or quadruple our reach and help out people. And there'll be benefit to the gym. There'll be benefit for the doctors as well, because we're expanding their marketing. But more importantly, we're reaching people who are nobody's reaching them right now. Nobody has a solution, and the doctors, I'll humbly say they feel that I have the solution with my approach, which is measure what you manage with food, and manage what you measure with food, right? Manage that, and move daily, activity daily, minimum effective dose. And for some of these people, walking 400 meters will be the activity. Attempting a push-up from your knees will be an activity. It'll be a progression into more and greater stuff with feedback, we'll put them in private groups on Facebook with communicating, not overdoing it, not getting too intense, doing it slowly. And that person may not, a large majority of people may not ever join the gym. Who cares, right? At least they're headed in the right direction and they've seen results, because I know that people who move more daily and who manage their food intake see better results. Know that hands down. And that may seem overly simplified to people who are doing Fran in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. But for all the people who are doing that, where's everyone else?
And for every person who is doing Fran in 2:35, they know at least 10 people who can be helped by this app, right? I don't do Fran in 2:35, but I do it quickly. And I know a lot of people that would never have come in my gym who I love dearly, who I would want to help, but I didn't have the tool necessary to reach them effectively. Does that make sense? And I think that's where this comes in, to really broaden the stroke in which a trainer can work. And you're right. I mean, from my experience, I've worked with clients who are over 400 pounds, and trying to get the doctor to work with me on some things, they don't take you seriously, right? As a trainer, if they don't know you. And the fact that you're bridging the two between what I consider fitness and trainers being the front lines and the first part of preventative healthcare, and then actual medical healthcare, I think it's brilliant, and I love it. I look forward to seeing it. How are you rolling it out right now? How's it going right now?
So we've gone out so 60 gyms are using it right now. It's mandatory. It's part of the boot camp. Okay. They are, not only is boot camp using it, but their clients are using it. I've gone out to other gyms. So we're expanding it to more CrossFit gyms. And I'm also talking with other franchises that are similar, whether it be Basecamp Fitness or Orange Theory or other things. My job is to get this in the hands of fitness professionals, regardless of their denomination, right? To me, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we get enough people doing this. So I'm working on that end, and then I have the doctor. So right now we're finishing up a case study. So my bootcamp people, every location follows the same programming. It's similar demographic. It's all the same standard, and it's all the same time frame. So we're actually doing a case study for people who are using a paper tracker versus people who are using the app, and see the difference in results. My next boot camp that starts in a couple weeks is going to be using that approach as well. And we're going to get published in a trade journal. So the doctor's going to help us get published in a trade journal. And that's what we're working on to roll it out. Every doctor that I've spoken to, not only this small group, but other. So we've probably got about 12 that are like on board with it right now. They're like, yes, we would love to have this. And there's no extra fee for the gym. It's the end user paying $9, and you get the dashboard. There's no minimum, and the doctors don't have to pay anything for it. So I'm trying to reduce as much, although there's a ton of value, I'm trying to reduce as much friction as getting this out there as possible. And so my job is getting the word spread.
And if I'm a fitness professional, or anybody for that matter, and I want to get involved with the Better Human app and the Better Human projects, how do they do that? How do they get a hold of you? Where do they go?
Just message me. There's information in the app, in our FAQ. Okay. There's on the Facebook page. They just have to message us, and we have an on-ramp process. We go through a training. We spend about a week training them on how to use stuff, how to implement it, how to present it to people. The outside of the core group that I'm working with, we're not working with them to get doctors involved. I have the most influence and the most compliance with my core gyms who are using my license. That's what we're doing first. And then we'll kind of roll it out to other locations after that. After we kind of get those 60 up and running, we'll kind of roll that out.
Awesome. Yeah, this is incredible. I really look forward to watching how this works and how you're going to change people's lives and possibly the world. I love it. I love big problems, take big ideas, and man, you're the right guy to do it. So, John, I can't thank you enough. I also want to thank you for that 3-day seminar back in April of 2009 that permanently changed my life in the fitness industry, doing the Biz Raise Your Game. And we'll be following you, and thank you.
Well, thanks for interviewing me. I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone who watched this. I get that some of my ideas may be challenging, but we are really amazing. And if we just looked at a wider view and adjusted what we are doing, we are the catalyst for change in the world. We, the people who are watching this right now, are the catalyst for change. It's not someone else. It's not the government. It's not the pharmaceutical. We are the catalyst for change. We just have to believe that and all of us get on the same page and get aligned. And maybe I'm crazy enough, stupid enough, or willful enough to actually be the person to lead that charge. But that's the direction that I'm going in. And I literally can't sleep at night because I want to get up the next morning and work on this. Because when you have an endocrinologist who convinces you that the thing that you created could change the obesity rate in America, you take that seriously, right? Maybe I didn't realize what I had in the power of my hand. Maybe I didn't realize that with the app, and now I see this bigger picture of what I could really do with that. So that's where I'm headed.
Awesome.
So thanks for interviewing me. I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone listening to me, and message me either on the Better Human app Facebook page, or get the app and message me through the app.
Awesome. We will definitely be in touch, and we'll be following you closely. Thanks again, John.
Thanks, Eric. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Future of Fitness podcast and webinar series. We're working really hard here to keep great content coming out, and we'd like to express our gratitude by offering you a free 7-day marketing crash course. So here's how you can claim it. If you go to fitnessmarketingalliance.com/free gift, FREEGIFT, and you enter the promo code FITMARK, FITMARK, you can claim it that way. The other way is you can text us. So you can text the phone number 805-619-5550, and you text the word FITMARK, FITMARK. So thank you. Keep listening. Go claim that offer. It's a ton of value. And if you ever want to get a hold of me, or if you have suggestions for guests, topics, or anything else, or if you just want to ask me questions, I always respond. You can reach me at Eric, ERIC, at fitnessmarketingalliance.com. And keep listening. We have a lot more coming down the pipe, and we'll make sure that we're keeping the value great for you guys. And farewell till next time.